saw. Brisbane just had unfinished business to attend to at the MCG, and they will get their chance.
Welcome to Little Birdie TV. I'm your host, Scoot. This is Thursday Lions, a action-packed preview of the AFL Grand Final and the prelims in NRL world. We've got Sir Lunchalot, MG. Sounds a bit dusty. Big week for him, just non-stop on the sauce. How are you, brother?
Yeah, good, Scoot. I'm surviving. Early start this morning, just unwarranted to help out our great Mac Toprope. Could have done with the extra hour kip, but here we are, ready to go. What a week to be alive, Scoot. Doesn't get much better in Melbourne. Glad to see you coming down to be a part of it, you Queenslander.
Outstanding early start. I love that Toprope. I've been up since 5:30am, up with the Galahs and up with the Cockatoos. But done. I've done half the form for the weekend. Up and about. You're up and about, Toprope. The little fella's got the big award at school.
Yeah, it's all happening up here. So it's NRL prelims. We're up bright and early, so this is nice easy way to the morning.
I love it how MG says 8 o'clock's early. I'd hate to see what's late in the morning for him. Toprope, let's have a look at you first. Two favourites, and gee, the results have run really straight in the NRL. Sharks 26-18 Cowboys, and then Roosters 40-16 Sea Eagles. Spoke to Tristan offline. Did okay with the Sharks result, but needed crowbar and needed an act of God to keep the punters off the Roosters. It just steamed in. It was a horror result for bookies, which is much to the delight of, I guess, our listeners and every punter out there. It was like Spot the Dog finding the Roosters last week. But what do you make of the results?
Yeah, it was fill up all round, really, in terms of we mentioned it last week on the show that the top 14 who drops back and loses week 1 has the home game week 2, has a tremendous record in week 2, and that came to pass. The bit of a scare with those on the Sharks minus. Also, one of the worst beats of all time. You've got a cop on the total, 44 points in an upper lane, 3 tries to stay in the second half, and then they knocked back short of 2. Final score 44, so missed the 45.5. So one of the more brutal ways to go down there. But it was. I'm a Sharks fan. I'm pretty disappointed that the foot wasn't put to the pedal in that second half, and they let the Cowboys back into it. Cowboys probably beaten by their own stupidity in the end. But the Roosters, man, it was a one goal from the first tackle when Tyler Kohler got knocked out, and from the second tackle when Jack Drewovich got knocked out. And I'll tell you what, if you've got if you're in need of brain surgery, you do not want the Manly doctor in charge, because he's just waving 6 again. No, your Swans don't have a Panadol. Like it was such a bad look. I'm not professing to be a doctor, and he may well have passed his HRA, but there needs to be independent doctors there, because the look for the game, how he looked after that hit was poor. And that was round 4 against the Tigers. Absolutely no way he gets back on the field. So it's all good and well to say you're looking after head knock, but as soon as a big player hits a big game, and all seems to be out the window. So, yeah, maybe Aaron will just tweak the rule out.
Does the AFL have an independent doctor, MG?
Yep.
No further questions.
Yeah, the NRL has an independent doctor. The NRL has an independent doctor who sits in a bunker and tells them to go off or not, but doesn't. There's no independent
follow
doctor.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a whiff about it. What hasn't got a whiff about it is your futures book. So you haven't quite nailed the Storm in the later part of the season, but your punters back's an absolute beauty. It's the start of every NRL season, so this is a good little reminder to go shopping early for the NRL futures positions, because you got Penrith to win the Premiership at 375 for 2.5 units. In your skyrocket, you got Roosters to win the Premiership, one unit at $11. Roosters to reach the grand final, 2 units at $5. And then you got Melbourne Storm to win the Premiership, 1 unit at $13, which is great shopping. And then 1 unit on Melbourne Storm to reach the grand final at $6.50 for 1 unit. So sitting pretty there. And your only losing position now is Cronulla Sharks. So
That's not a losing position. they're not going anywhere. If I had a chance to take 50s on them this week, I wouldn't take it.
There you go. So well played there, and make sure you get his punters pack when it drops early in the season next year, because that's sensational shopping. I'll pump your tyres up soon, MG, but let's have a look at the prelim results. Swans 95 to 59, Port Adelaide 36 points. in cruise control for most of the match, I thought. And then Brisbane, Lions, Geelong, 95-85. As one of the better prelim finals that I can recall. Absolute cracker. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, it's a good weekend of AFL. Sydney done the job. So if you're a supporter of the Swans and on them, which I hope you are, I don't think too much more could have gone right, Scoot. They've kind of hit form at the right side before the finals coming in. They've had an easy run through. They got the I would say the weaker side of the draw going into the prelim, and once they started well in Q1, it was over, and they were able to get through injury free. Full list to choose from, pretty light week, I would have thought. So they got zero excuses going in, chock full of confidence. Whereas the other game kind of fought to the end. Again, Brisbane coming down from 25 points down, 4 goals down at one stage in the third quarter. They've definitely tapped into the fuel tank for the last 2 weeks to get there in the GF Scoot. So, if I'm lining up this week, which we'll talk about later, I know which side I want to be on. But, it was a cracking game, the Brisbane-Geelong game, in front of a big crowd again at the MCG. And, whether they're the best side to go through or not, Geelong definitely had their chances. But, cracking game. Again, a bit of carnage for Brisbane losing their ruckman, which, again, we'll discuss a bit later. I think it's a major one wood in their bag that they've lost, Scoot, going into this matchup into the grand final. Yeah,
Oscar McInerney did well to get back on the field. Big congratulations to Paddy Cripps. Was a runaway winner in the Brownlow medal, and a great result for you, MG. You tip him up, I think, at $7. You chime back in at $2.75. Got multiple cracks out of him, and I think for your Brownlow package, you cracked out just under 10%. So you sprayed over 130 units out, and made a nice little profit there of 12.24 units at 9.47% pot. And good going there, and a lot's been made of this, the count, and Cripps on 45, Dacos 38, runaway winners. I think the important thing is they got the first two across the line correct, so hard to take it away. He was the best player, and I guess Dacos was second best, but I can't really say much more about it. The umpires have stuffed the whole year up, and it's not really their fault. It's the AFL who's made it just virtually impossible for them to do their job, and I think this is just another example of their hands being tied behind their back. They don't get a look at the stat sheet, and they trip themselves into making bad decisions because the AFL doesn't make their life easier. So no pot on the AFL umpires for mine, but it's funny that the trend continues. Like if the AFL or the umpires get the opportunity to stuff things, they more often than not do, and this is just the icing on the cake. So I'm happy to let everyone else blue about it, but can't take it away from Crippo. He carried the Blues all season. What about you? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it was a good count. Dreamlike count, really, Scoot. I can't believe the money didn't come for Cripps on the day. Fielding the phone calls, unbelievable start. Started 270 pick on Betfair, and the good news was by round 6 it should have been $1.01, and they were still trading. Different points. They were evens when they shouldn't have been. They were $1.45 to $1.50 when they shouldn't have been. Even when they were $1.25, just should have been off the board. So, it was a good time to sweep it up, and pretty much a feed up job for most of the counts, Scoot. You don't rarely get those, so we'll take them when they can. But mate, I've got a different take on the umpires. They've been absolutely disgraceful all year on the field, and you can gloss over and say, the AFL's had a hand in it. These guys have been doing this for 100 years. And I've never seen a butcher job like this. When you analyse some of the games that they got the wrong Dacoses on 2 occasions. Giving it to Nick instead of his brother. And some of the Cripps voting's outstanding. Honestly, if you thought there was a one job going in this Brownlow without if there was any kind of money for it, there'd be an investigation for mine, because 45 votes is ridiculous. 38 to the runner up is not that bad either. It's worse as well for mine. Dacos in 100 years has beaten the record and still hasn't won the Brownlow. So then after Dacos, Scooty, there was a lot of high voters. Butters, good result, running third at 29, and obviously Sarong and Heaney, who was suspended at 28. But there was another 3 players above 25, Scoot. So very high count, concentrating on midfielders only. So from that part of the Brownlow count, it's it's very one-way traffic, and to make it to study the Brownlow pretty much now. You don't have to go too much outside the midfield. But, yeah, pretty easy count. Good result, Scoot, and all the punters that followed got a good result.
Yeah, I guess that's the main thing because it is a bit of a Mickey Mouse thing. And as we mentioned, what was it last week? It's just a shame that NRL can't clean up their act and make something as good to give us something more to bet on. But I did jokingly say all season that Cripps sleeps with the umpires. So if you haven't been taking note of what we've been saying on the show, you're just missing out on cash. And the $44 that was spent on the Stings package, well, if you haven't made more than $44 of the Brownlow, your eyes are painted on and your ears are too. So well done, MG. You've absolutely blitzed it. AFLW, I see that on a run sheet. We're out of time. I know we've only got 3 games to preview, but what I've been watching just doesn't warrant any chat, but I'm sure there's a couple of angles there.
It does, Scoot. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely airborne. Like, it's just crazy. The bookies are asleep at the wheel, and I hope they don't wake up for another 8 weeks because I need this to continue. It's been last 2 weeks been outstanding. No one watches the weather, Scoot. It's been a free-for-all.
Just check the run sheet in your Scoot, just seeing where NRLW semi-finals were on the run sheet.
Nah, mate, they're not there.
Not there.
Nah, we're pressed for time this week. Too many games. Golf President's Cup this week in Charlotte, Quail Hollow, USA, $1.35. The International's $3.60. Any angle there, Top Rope, or is it just a one-y?
Well, it's not a Quail Hollow. It's actually a Royal Montreal. So it's actually,
there you
go. Home game. All over the US. They've won 12 of the 14. Our last international win was 98, Royal Melbourne. Never lost in the Northern Hemisphere. Never tied in the Northern Hemisphere. So, a few there for me. If you have me a little bet, I'll back the US 4 to 6 point winning margin. The best bets are around the top scorers. I've got Zan, the top US, 650. Tom Kim International at 950. He will likely pair up with Siwoo Kim, I've got for the top wild card, but he went 2 and 3 in his first President's Cup and certainly has a lot more upside than most of the internationals. Best bet of the whole thing, though, Wyndham Clark, top rookie. That's 350 on Wyndham Clark. He had a good Ryder Cup last year, so he'll be pretty heavily trusted. I'd imagine he'll get 4, possibly 5 matches. So that's the key here. And Homer, probably going as bad as anyone in the field. His match play record, though, is unbelievable. He went 4-0 at the last President's Cup. Max Homer, top US wildcard, about $6.
Yeah, outstanding stuff. Have a look at you go. It's prelim week, and you've already sniffed out a couple of bets in the President's Cup and even corrected MG's error on the run sheet, which I just fell hook, line and sinker. A bit like Ron Burgundy. You could write anything and I'll just read the bugger. Oh, dear. NRL Premiership prices here. Penrith Panthers, $2.20, $2.30 the Storm, $8.50 the Roosters, and Cronulla Sharks, $12. If you nick Tedeschi, you're laughing at those prices because you're on at the good odds in the futures position, which is beautiful business. MG, quick little whip around. Last week, kept the powder dry, so a bit boring there, and the season tally is 4.62% pot. And then you've got your futures positions, which are looking absolutely sensational, and the Brownlow as well. So hats off, winning here. Not much, or you can't do any damage. It's only bigger positives. So if Sydney win the Premiership, that'll go to 18% pot on your futures package, and then Brisbane will make it 15%. So happy days with any of the futures. So if you're an AFL Sting believer, you've got the lot. And if you haven't bought the AFL Stings package, make sure you tune into it next season because MG absolutely has brained it and knows what he's doing. Top Rope, you went 1-1 last week, lost 0.8 units, and then, as you said, with that sick beat earlier, but you still get your nose in front for the season tally. And as discussed earlier, your futures are in pretty good shape. Not sure why MG's letting in the door first, but we are going to talk about the NRL on Friday. We're not going to go Saturday to Friday. We'll definitely talk about the Storm and my Storm, Sydney against the Sydney Roosters, $1.27. Bellamy's men, $3.75. The Roosters, 10.5 the line, 44.5. MG will be there with Nicky. He'll need his own little set of earmuffs, because she'll be screaming hard and loud for the Chookies. But I think the Melbourne Storm will just win this easily, Top Rope.
In newspaper world, Scooty, you usually lead with the best. You lead with the top story, and we're leading with the top story this week. So it's good to see. Yeah, MG is going to need the earmuffs, all right? I had nothing but complaints from Nikki last time about the foul language used by Storm fans last time she was there. So I dare say that the sold-out Storm crowd might be harbouring a similar complaint against one in Sylvester next time around because the Roosters are in for a long night. I kind of came into this game thinking, well, I'm probably going to come into the Roosters here. The number looked pretty big. I've liked them all year. Kind of gone to the numbers, and I can only bet the Storm Lights. I'll be steaming into the Storm Lights, actually. So they won 10 of the last 11 against the Chooks, covered 9 of those. They scored 18 plus in 10 of those 11 games. The Roosters have not topped 18 points in the last 10 against the Storm. So huge head-to-head edge there. The Storm, 4 out of 7 against the spread is double-digit favourite at Amy. They've covered 18 and 27 off scoring at 36 plus, 23 and 12 against the spread off a win of 13 or more. And the Roosters, 7 and 18 against the spread against top 4 teams. They've covered just 3 of 17 against Melbourne and Penrith. I don't know if you call them bogey teams, but they just haven't been able to lift the big games. The markets tended to overrate the Roosters in these games. They've covered just 3 of 10, getting 8 or more starts. So, this is very, very confident play on Melbourne.
Yeah, outstanding. That's music to my ears. And Jerome Hughes, 6 tries from his last 10 games against the Roosters. I'm a sicko, so I want a bit more same-game multi-action. Pap, $1.89 at Top Sport, anytime try scorer. Nick Meaney, $3.10, any chance, anytime try scorer?
Leave Meaney out, doesn't score enough, but you can put in a middle of the same game. Pap for sure. I would be looking at Will Warbrick on the wing, scored a win try there. And there's after a little bit of value. Ellie Katoa, been great try scorer for him. So, back row, I think give it 250, 216. So I'll be working around Hughes, Katoa, Pap, will be the what I'll be playing around.
Outstanding stuff. All right, so it's chips in job there. And we'll set up the first leg of a cracking grand final. Speaking of cracking grand finals, Sydney versus Brisbane. I reckon this one's going to be a lot closer than MG suggests, but Swans, $1.72, Brisbane Lions, $2.12, line 4.5, the total 172.5. Well, my Melbourne boys keep sending me the weather forecast, and it looks absolutely cherry ripe for the MCG on Saturday afternoon. This will be a belter, MG.
Well, Scoot, forecast at the moment 23 and sunny, but word of warning for mine is strong winds, so can get into the MCG bit and make it swirly, anywhere from 25 up to 40 at this stage during the day, so could be interesting for Brisbane, who struggle to kick the ball with no wind, so that could be another Achilles heel, I guess, for Brisbane on the day. But yeah, Scoot, this is obviously the grand final. We've got team that finished first against fifth for the year. Obviously, you've got to be coming in off winning streaks to make the grand final. Sydney have won the last 5, Brisbane have won the last 4, and head-to-head, Brisbane have won the last 3 against Sydney. So they got the recent wood over them. Played once this year. Scoot round 19, not so long ago, up in Brisbane. Brisbane were able to hang on by a couple of points. Very hot day up there. The Swans actually lost 3 players and did an unbelievable job to still be in the finish. So I think psychologically, Swans would take a lot more out of the game than Brisbane, being away from home in hot conditions, 3 men down for the last quarter and a half, only to go down by a couple of points. I think they'll heed a lot of confidence from Matt Scoot. I've come up with this game much shorter, a bit like Toprope singing the praises for the mighty Storm. I'm just going to ride this ship all the way home, Scoot, even though we've got a solid price for the Premiership. Gone again as soon as they posted the market, -$3, $1.78 head-to-head. It was just too big a price, Scoot. The market's starting to come towards Sydney now. It's moved from 3.5, or it opened quick 4.5 back to 3.5 now. It's to 4.5. I think if you're going to back Sydney, I'd be getting in earlier, and if you're going to back Brisbane, I'd wait until the last possible moment. I think if it's going to move, it'll move Sydney's way for mine. Key factor for me, well, one of the key factors for me, I just think 2 things. Losing McInerney in the ruck just hurts their structure too much. Daniher's probably going to be forced to play 40-50% in the ruck, so I think that's going to upset their structure. And the other thing is Brisbane, I think, just used too many petrol tickets in getting to this grand final, come from behind. 2 big wins. They were down 44 points to the Giants to get up by a kick, and then 25 points down to Geelong last week just to get up as well by 10 points. So, I think nothing could have gone more perfect for Sydney. Got a full list to choose from. They're fresh, the extra day off, and in a neutral crowd at the MCG, I don't think they could ask for any more. So I think the Sydney will win, and I think there'll be enough points in this game to see the over total get done here. Scoot, open 170, it's 172 now. I can see it heading up another couple of points. So again, if you want to back the overs, I'd get in early, and if you like the unders, I'd wait until the last possible here, Scoot. One key factor or an angle, Scoot, if you do like Brisbane and you are backing live, the key factor here is Brisbane this year, Scoot, for quarter ones are 22-4 at leading at quarter time. So it's, they've been 2 goals better on average throughout the year. So if you like Brisbane, they have to get off to a fast start. If Brisbane's not in front at quarter time, then I can't see them winning the grand final, Scoot.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. I can recall quite vividly the Brisbane-Sydney game, and I think I chimed into Brisbane Lions in play once a couple of those players went down in round 19. So I think they bet about $4 in run that day. When they were slightly down, Brisbane, they started to drop like flies, the Sydney Swans. I sort of like the fact that Brisbane have overcome the adversity. I know all season I've been banging on about Swans having a clear path in and how easy they'll get to the grand finals. Sort of suggested that the $4 was overs for quite some time, but I'm just not convinced with their form on the road down in Melbourne, especially against a team like Brisbane who now have got this like massive inner belief. And the other factor is Brisbane lost the grand final, and they've been to this big stage. They'll be able to suck up all the pressure. I think, McInerney is a massive loss, but I think in the past these ruckmen can come in and maybe there could be a little bit of a surprise element too. So I'm not as convinced it's going to be a big swing factor in this one because the midfield are just running absolutely white hot, and I sort of didn't mind the patch-up job that they had last week, but they're both 2-1 at the G this year, so in a neutral venue, I think that kind of takes it away a bit. And when they've been interstate, Sydney are 7-4 and Brisbane are 8-4-1, so the stats kind of line up there. The other thing, I guess, the other tips I wanted to give out, Scoot, is also the Norm Smith and the first goal scorer for punters that like a bit of Ric Flair, like our man Toprope. Not going to pot anyone that's up the top, Scoot, with obviously Lockie Neal and the big three from the Swans. You can't go away from them, and plenty of money will pour into them. I think most of them are about the prices you'd expect, but a bit of value for Swans fans. I like Papley at about the $21 for the Norm Smith. And on the Brisbane side, I think there's a few that you could back. I think Ashcroft at 21, Cam Rayner at 21, and I don't mind Joe Danaher at 26 on the proviso that he's obviously a goal kick. He played an enormous grand final last year, and I think he's going to play maybe anywhere from 40 to 50% ruck time, so that'll bolster his possessions as well. So I think there's a bit of shopping to be done in the Norm Smith. Unbelievable talent at the top end. So I think it's always a great betting run live as well, the Norm Smith. So something to look for live. First goal kickers, I'm going to go with the little men, Scoot. For Sydney, I'm going to go Papley at around the $12, and big fan of Cam Rayner. I think he might, if Brisbane are going to win, Cam Rayner's going to have to rip the lid off this. So Cam Rayner about $16, I think would be my play for the first goal scorer for Brisbane. This is going to be absolute belter. And if you haven't got a position at this stage, I think maybe the total over might be the best play. And then, as sort of MG suggests, I think you can chip around for those Norm Smith markets and find the winner there. Lockie Neal appeals to me. Hugh McColgage appeals to me as well. I see there's been a fair bit of money for Chad Warner, which sort of makes sense. And Smoke and Joe Danaher, I think that looks like a big price given all the factors that MG has just said. But absolute belter, nothing would shock me here, and good to see MG holding firm on the Sydney Swans. Should give a lot of those futures punters a big boost of confidence, as other people that I've spoken to in chat groups, they think the Swans should be shorter also. But beware the team that's been there and copped the bitter defeat the year before is my word of advice. Top rope. Let's talk NRL prelim, Panthers versus the Sharks. Obviously, early in the show, he said he wouldn't be on Sharks at 50s. So that's good news here. $1.24 Panthers, $4.10 11.5 the line here at Tristan's place into 185, which is scary. And then the over's 41.5. Bookies will need a crowbar, you think, to keep the punters off the Panthers, and especially at the minus. No miracle for Nico and his Cronulla Sharks.
No, we just one of those aforementioned shark groups got asked to name our line for the Panthers game in after the Sharks last week. And I think they have it minus 20.5, so minus 11.5 is an absolute gift for mine. Sharks have been held scoreless in their last 2 or 3 of the last 5 years. Penrith, 5 of the last 7 wins by the Panthers and like 26 or more. Penrith absolutely own the Sharks. That's to say nothing of Cronulla being a great team this year, and Penrith showed that they've got years. We really need to be breathing forth, but their first 20 minutes against the Roosters was, after playing pretty on the rugby league prior to that, was that really, it could not have been more impressive. It's the Panthers, just to show that how they can go through the years. They've covered 6 of the last 7 finals across the last 3 seasons, 20-11 against the spread, against top 14. It's hard to imagine Penrith are underrated anywhere, but the market's clearly underrated them in finals. They are just that dominant. 6.5 plus favourites cover at 57%, and they actually climb. We know he's going to put the whistle away based on last week's disgrace. But he won't blow a penalty, and no team will take more advantage of Penrith. Cronulla had every chance to take advantage of it last week and didn't. So this will be. I'm steaming into Penrith, and I'll be backing the Sharks to score 0. That's it. There's 0 10 points. Stuff like that. This is going to be a complete one go here.
Yeah, outstanding stuff. So still some value to be had at the minus 11.5 at Top Sport. The good news is Toprope that had set up the miracle or the most entertaining grand final. I think every NRL fan, aside from the Roosters and Sharks people, they want to see Storm and Panthers slug it out on the final day.
Well, they do now. It's I know they all see Penrith back in the grand final, but it's. I think if you're not going to have your team there, or an interesting matchup with a couple of fairy tale teams, I've been having the 2 best teams, because there would be nothing worse than a Storm, Sharks, or Panthers Roosters grand final, because that line will be double digits, and it will definitely lack a bit of interest I've had. It would be kind of that Penrith Power game. It would just be a 1-0. I'd be all over the Panthers Storm.
Toprope, just a quick question. If all things be equal and both Penrith and Melbourne get through, what's your guess at the line at this stage? What it'll start?
What I think it should be, or what I think it will be?
Either or, both.
I think what it will be, I think it'll open up Penrith $1.80, Melbourne $2, so only 1.5. I think it should be. I think the Panthers should be favoured by at least 4.
Okay.
So, I've been low on the Storm all year, so that's quite all right. But I think Penrith just have that ability to stick on. I do suspect this might be their last stand as well. Luai's leaving, Taruva's leaving. They've lost a lot of talent over the last few years, and I think, well, this is it for them. They know this is it. Other than they're going to fall out off the cliff or anything like that, but in terms of that being the dominant alpha dog of the NRL, I think that era might be coming to an end. So I think they know that. I think they're pretty driven by that.
Well, I reckon a healthy Cam Munster will end their dynasty in a week's time. But Toprope, I know it's bittersweet. I can see it in your body language and hear it in your voice. There's only 3 games of rugby league left.
Well, luckily, rugby league's an international games. We've got the Semi Championships afterwards, so I've got another month and a bit to get through. So typically, it's a very sad time. You are exactly right. Bittersweet. The saddest day of the year is the day after the grand final, but we've got the Pacific Championships to get through. So rugby league just rolls on.
All right, that's a wrap from us. MG, good luck with getting the rig through the tough final week of the AFL, but you're an absolute sicko. You'll just march into the Spring Carnival horse races and you'll be doing it the ponies after that. So look forward to seeing you for a beer this weekend. Good luck with your Swans in the grand final, and hopefully everyone's enjoyed MG's insights throughout the AFL season. So we've got a show next week for the NRL Grand Final, and that's us for another season. So hopefully all the AFL fans out there have enjoyed the content supported by Top Sport and Punting Form and MG and Toprope. So big thanks to everyone that's watched the show for the year if you're an AFL fan, but if you're an NRL fan, make sure you tune into next week's show. It's going to be absolute belter, Grand Final week, and good luck on the punt, everyone, and we'll see you next week.